and welcome to the Created to Write show. Today, I have with me the lovely Julie Modra. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, Michelle.
Would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you write?
So my name is Julie Modra and I live in sunny Queensland, originally hailed from New South Wales. I've done a lot of things in my past, worked in hardware stores. I was a pastor's wife. I was a high school teacher, a university lecturer, and now I'm writing full time. And I have one published autobiography from 2013 that I've recently tweaked and upgraded, and it's now available as an ebook. And it's called A Life More Than Ordinary. It's my story of my difficult upbringing. It's the story of my middle daughter's battle with cancer. It's the story of my late husband's battle with cancer and him passing away. And so it's just an encouraging, it doesn't sound like it, but it's an encouraging book about how God is faithful in dark times and how there's beauty in pain and God uses everything for good. So that was my first published book, and I have a really lovely special little teen novella coming out in August this year called Oscar Was Here, which has been published with Rhiza Press. And it's a lovely little teen story about friendship, kindness, and also it is a little bit about loss and grief, but hope as well. So it will go into schools, etc. And I'm really excited to get the message out. It's clean, it's uplifting, it has really good values and morals. So I'm excited about that one. And I have a very large dual timeline novel that I've been working on for over 10 years, which is now pretty much at the pitching stage. I've done a little bit of pitching with that to the US market with a measure of success. There's an editor over there who wants to see it. I'm just doing some final tweaks on it and then I'll be sending that off. So that's sort of what I've done so far. And I'm also in talks with doing another Rise of Short teen novella as well.
Sounds great. I love those shorts. I
Yeah,
can't wait to read yours.
thanks, honey. Thank you.
They're so much fun. It's like flick, 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 and you're done.
Yeah. Well, they're for reluctant readers and for
People who just want to read something quickly.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So they're between 15,000 to 20,000 words. They're sort of the way that they are formatted is to give reluctant readers, particularly, the feeling that they're getting through the chapters really quickly and they're seeing some success. And as a former English teacher, yeah, I'm all on board with that. I love to see kids reading. So it's definitely something I'm very passionate about. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a privilege to be part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Tell us a little bit about your faith and how that has shaped your work.
Well, I became a Christian when I was around 6 years old. My family were not saved, but there was this really lovely AOG couple who come around to where I lived in the worst part of town and asked my parents if myself and my siblings could go to Sunday school. And that's where my walk with God and my faith began. And that has seen me through numerous trials. And yeah, He saved me then, and He saves me every single day. And that informs everything that I do with my writing. In fact, I wouldn't be writing if I didn't feel that He had called me to do it. There are a lot of easier ways to make money than writing. And having had a successful career in teaching, that carrot always hangs there. Like, you can just go back, it's getting too hard, just go back. But I just have to stay the course because I really do feel that, it is part of my ministry and what God wants me to do. And so every word I pen, every word or type, I'm trying to reveal God. I'm trying to reveal God and His goodness and His faithfulness. And even if the books are not overtly Christian, and the Rise of Short books are not, there's still a hope and that underpinning sense of God's goodness and faithfulness there. They're hopefully when people read my books, they get a real sense of peace, a sense of that a spiritual or inner connect, that they may not understand why they are feeling that little bit of warmth inside. I just hope that they feel that, and maybe they'll go looking. That's sort of my hope. But yeah, it is the most important thing to me. We, as writers, we always write out of who we are, and that's who I am. At my core, I need to see Jesus magnified in everything that I do. So there's this great song by Casting Crowns called Nobody. I don't know if you've heard of it, but the lines, whenever I listen to this song, it's just like, oh, this is me. This is so me. When I see that carrot dangling, go back to what's secure and safe and, pays good money. I just hear those words. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody all about somebody who saved my soul. And that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, I love that. That's very cool. When
Is
you're writing, who do you picture? Who do you picture will be reading that book?
I don't want to cry. I picture the brokenhearted every time, every time. I just want, I think it felt filtered through all of my teaching as well when kids were struggling. I just really want people to know that there's hope, that the sun will get up again tomorrow, and that seasons change, hard times will go away, and there will be a chance to smile again at some point. You just don't give up. And so I guess my writing very much reflects that. And so I'm always thinking of that one reader who's really struggling, is in a dark tunnel. And I just really hope that by the time they've finished reading my book, they can see that there's a light there. And I think that's because I've been in a lot of dark tunnels. And yeah, I think a lot of people would say that my writing has a lot of depth to it. It's quite emotionally deep. Um, I don't actually the two books that are being published, has been and will be. Tissues seem to be like a mandatory accompaniment to my books, but in a lovely way, in a beautiful way. And so, yeah, I just want people to see that there's hope, that the sun will come up again, and this sun, S-O-N, is there. And yeah, that's what I really love. But my readers don't have to be struggling. They don't have to be brokenhearted. I think that even in our best times, I think that we can, yeah, all be reminded that we have worth, where our identity comes from, and that there's hope.
And you spoke about seasons. Tell us about a hard season that you've had and what got you through it.
Well, anyone who knows me would be able to tell of a number of them. Like when we talked hard seasons, big ones. I mean, like I mentioned before, I had a very difficult upbringing, domestic violence to the extreme. My middle daughter had cancer. We almost lost her numerous times when she was like 11 months old. And my husband passed away from cancer. So they're dark times. But in terms of writing, I've found, this sounds strange, but going into cold turkey, like no more teaching into writing, I found that incredibly difficult. In fact, I had to go see a Christian psychologist because I was struggling so much with the change, because it's not as easy as it appears. Everyone says, oh, I want to be a writer 24/7, but there's no structure. There's nothing that you can really hold on to. There's no security financially. It's a really scary place to be as a writer, I found. And for me, I went from having a job that paid quite well to having no income instantly. I went from being in a room full of rowdy, beautiful teenagers that would like be swarming all around me, to being in a room on my own with a blank screen every day, all day. I went from having a schedule as a teacher, where it's like, okay, this is period one, period two, morning tea, four, et cetera, et cetera. It's Monday, it's Thursday, oh, Friday, last day of the week, to no schedule whatsoever. So definitely needed self-discipline. And probably more for me, it was about I need to make a difference. And I felt that I could see that in teaching. I could see that I was either making a difference on the daily with a student, or I was making a difference when I was doing their end of term reports, or when we got to the end of the year and I rounded up the whole year and saw where they'd come from and to where they got to. But as a writer, you can write literally for years and see no reward, no recognition, and no real like measurable gain, except for, oh yeah, I've now written this many words. Um,
So true.
so that was a real struggle for me, resistance to writing. So I have chickens, and honestly, some days I would just have preferred to have gone out and got on my hands and knees and cleaned the chicken coops rather than write. The issue was, one, I felt like God wouldn't let me do anything else but write, and two, I'd quit my teaching career so to do it. So I thought I better do it. And what really got me out of all of that was only, I mean, recent. Like I've been doing this now full-time writing for 5 years, and probably in the last 6 months have I actually seen some like reprieve from the constant swimming against the current of resistance. And I think that was for a number of reasons. Firstly, I finally started seeing some like results in getting the Oscar was here on the list to be published. I was like, great, okay, I can see that something's paying off there. Also, just in really being really honest with myself and going, well, if I didn't do writing, what would I do? And there was nothing else I wanted to do. There was nothing else. It was like, that is what I really feel I should be doing. And so I thought, well, if I should be doing it, I should just like do it then, just sit down and do the work. And of course, I'm now doing my Masters of Creative Writing. And let me tell you, assessment deadlines are the best cure for procrastination and resistance.
I can
Have
imagine.
a choice. I have to do it. So I have to sit there. And what's even worse is you have to write stuff you actually don't want to write. Like they tell you what to write and they give you the parameters, and you're like, okay, well, even though the resistance is there, I don't want to do it. It's either do it and pass or don't do it and fail. So I feel like even God's like, okay, this is how we're dealing with it, Julie. You're going to get in the seat and you're going to write. And also, I lost my best friend to cancer in October last year after a very short battle with cancer. And, 12 weeks before, she thought she had a whole future set up. And then 12 weeks later, she was gone. And it really got me thinking about how, fragile life is and how you're not promised tomorrow. And I thought, well, if I want to make a difference and I want to leave a legacy, I better get to work. So that's what I've been doing ever since. And now I'm pretty much writing around the clock. Like I can be up now at like 5:30 in the morning and I'm writing. And then sometimes like, my wonderful husband, Brian, who picks up all the drop balls, he'll do dinner for me while I'm still trying to finish something. And so there's been a complete turnaround there. So if anyone's struggling with resistance and just getting in the seat to write, keep going. If you force yourself to get there, I think it's almost like, because I've done a lot of art in the past, and it's like you have that blank canvas and you're always scared to put that first brush stroke onto a white canvas. You've just got to do it. And then it becomes easier after that. And with that kind of resistance to writing, it's every morning. Every morning is that blank canvas and that first stroke, then it becomes easier. And yeah, so be encouraged if anyone is struggling with that. It does get easier, but you actually have to push through it. It's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah, so true.
Anyway, that's
Yes.
a long answer to that question.
Butt in chair, hands on keys, go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what's one mistake you made early on that you can
Yeah.
save other people from?
Oh God. Well, I think that's why I'm doing my master's, because I want to make sure no one else makes this mistake like I did. because I want to eventually teach. I do actually teach on writing craft, but I actually want to make it more of a thing. But thinking that I knew how to write when I did it, I think everyone can write, like, because we learn how to write, but there's a difference between writing and like writing craft. And I had been a university lecturer teaching at uni on English literature, all the classics and poetry across all of the periods of literary history. And I'd also taught on Australian literature. I was a English high school teacher for over 10 years. And I was teaching those kids how to write short stories for assessment. And so I thought I knew how to write. So I'd written 25,000 words of this novel that's now finished. This is like 10 years ago. And I thought, yeah, this is great. This is coming on swimmingly. And then when I quit teaching, I actually went and started doing some short writing courses through the Australian Writers Centre. And I also started reading a lot of books on craft, writing craft, and realized very quickly that the 25,000 words I'd written would not pass muster anywhere. And I pretty much had to start again from scratch and restructured the whole novel and rewrote the whole thing. And yeah, so that would be the one mistake that I think would be great if people could avoid. The solution to that would be, yeah, immerse yourself in some really good books on writing craft. There's a lot out there. On my website, if anyone's interested, I've just put up a blog in the Writers Hub. I have a dedicated website page for writers to help other writers because that's really my heart. Um, and that blog, I've only got one up so far. The website is fairly fresh. But that blog is called What's on My Bookshelf. And so I think there's more than 20 books I've listed with small descriptions of why these books would be valuable to have as books on your bookshelf. If you are a new writer or even a writer who just wants to become more familiar with commonly held rules, techniques, and strategies around writing to ensure more success. When you go to pitch that novel, you want to know that you're lining up with all of the things that the editors are looking for. So yeah, so that's on my website, and that would be the thing that, yeah, that was my big mistake, thinking that, yeah, I knew how to write. And I really had no clue. Like, honestly, it was such a shock to me. So yeah, that would be it.
You are just a person with so much knowledge and so much wisdom. You've already given everybody a lot of tips.
I
Before we
believe
go,
that's what I'm put on the earth for. I really, 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 really want to help other writers, particularly Christian writers. As I was saying to you before we started our conversation, there's a really low ceiling here in Australia for Christian fiction writers. And if you really want any sort of measure of success or publication, generally you've got to go to the US market. Um, I really would like to see that changed. I really want to help writers get to a place where people can look at Australian writers and go, yeah, this is a really wonderful group of wonderful writers who have a real understanding of the craft and how to communicate beautifully. I'm currently doing a unit on in the masters on literary fiction. I actually do lean that way as a writer, and I love reading literary fiction. If you put in literary fiction, Christian into Google, very little comes up. There's not a lot there. And so I'm learning at the moment how to do that well through my master's so that I can then show others how to do it. I just feel like God always has me leading the way so that I can go, okay, then turn around and say to everyone, okay, guys, this is how you do it, in the simplest form, which is the way I learned as an English teacher, is how to teach, it in the simplest form. And that's my hope that that's what I can do, as well as write as well on the side as well. I'm not sure which one God wants me most, just, to be focusing on, to be honest, but I do love to write as well. Yeah. So
Hmm.
sorry, I
Awesome.
long.
That is okay. For everyone who's still watching, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps with the algorithms, helps other people to find this podcast. And do you have any more words of wisdom you would like to leave the wannabe writer?
Yeah, well, I did mention the writing books, the books on writing craft. Definitely do that. The Australian Writers Centre is definitely something I would recommend. Look them up. You can either do courses where there is an actual tutor who will walk you through it with a group of people, and you instantly have a workshopping group, which is great. Or there's self-paced courses. Look out for their sales. They have sales on maybe like 2 or 3 times a year. That's when I would be buying any of their courses. Yeah, highly recommend. And that's where I learnt that I couldn't write right there. And the other thing I would do would be to definitely advise people to get into a writing community. Great writers grow within community. And you don't want to be isolated. You don't want to isolate yourself. You want to be open with your writing. You want people to have fresh eyes and look over your work. You want to be able to receive feedback and change it where you think that it lines up, and also give feedback. It's very, very commonly known that we learn the best as writers by actually giving feedback to others. And so definitely getting into a writing community, I would advise. But sometimes I've been in a lot because of all the study I've been doing over the last 5 years. Some people are just not going to get what you're trying to do, and they're going to give feedback that's not going to be helpful. But don't give up, keep going, and eventually you will find your people, your tribe of writers, and you'll click with them, and then you hold on to them and don't let them go, because that is the joy of the writing life. I really do believe that. I have a beautiful writing buddy who went through some of the writing courses with me, and so we're very evenly matched in terms of what we understand of writing craft. So we don't have to say, oh, yeah, but because of, we like, oh, yeah, you're doing that because, like, we get it. And we go to all book launches together. We go to writing conferences and we book hotels, and we have so much fun. And we do writing life together. It's what we do. We don't do anything without consulting the other and going, what do you think? And then if we've got new work, we send it to each other. And I honestly, the feedback that I get is so valuable for me. My last book, Oscar Was Here, I know there was one particular detail in that book that I couldn't get my head around. And I was at the Byron Writers Festival last year with my writing buddy. And I said, here, can you just read through this? I'm just not sure. I know it's something's missing, but I just don't know how to approach it. And she just said like 2 or 3 sentences, and that was it. It just all clicked. And I absolutely think that is what made the book. It was like, without that, I just think the whole thing would have fallen flat. And so, absolutely, definitely get into a writing group situation. And finally, just don't give up, honestly. I could have given up so many times. Even now, I'm just like, oh, sometimes it's just really hard. But I got to go yesterday and pick up the print proof of Oscar Was Here, and hold it in my hands. And it's now sitting on my bookshelf, and that's the one coming out in August. And gosh, what a beautiful feeling. And that wouldn't have happened if I'd given up. So you just don't give up. And I truly believe, I've done a lot of study and heard a lot of people talk about writing, and some say you need a measure of luck. I've heard some say you need to spin the wheel of fortune, and hopefully fate will help you, get that little bit of success, meeting the right person at the right time, etc. But I absolutely believe that if you apply yourself and work hard to do what you can do to the best of your ability, and then you leave God to deal with all the rest, you absolutely can experience a level of success. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe that if you're doing the best you can and you're putting good content out there and you've got God behind you and you don't give up, that's the thing, don't give up, then I absolutely believe that there is there can be success. Because when I first started and I gave up my teaching career, I'd heard someone say 98% of people who want to be writers never make it, never get published, never make it. And that just has been confirmed at every single writing event I've ever been to, where every editor says the same thing. And yes, there is truth in that. But I do also believe that if you're doing the work and you're doing some measure of study, whether it's just reading books, and then you're improving and improving and improving, and you don't give up, I believe you put yourself at the very top of the pile, where everyone else is at the bottom of the pile and they're not trying, or they think they're good enough, or they're not receiving feedback, or they're not applying feedback. And therefore, their chance of getting work accepted, because honestly, an editor will pick up on the very first page if you're not doing the hard work at your end. And so if you're doing that and you don't give up, be encouraged. It can happen, and it's a good chance it will, And there's so many options now. Self-publishing is such a thing now. So easy. I just put my ebook up on Kindle recently. It was so easy. So yeah, go for it. You absolutely can. Yeah, it can be very
Brilliant.
rewarding. So yeah,
Thank you, Julie. Absolutely. Do not give up.
don't
Keep
give up.
um, keep working on your craft, keep at it, and
Yes,
you'll make it.
yes, indeed.
Brilliant. Thank you
Amen.
so much for joining me
Thank you,
today.
Michelle. Thanks for letting me come onto your wonderful, wonderful show. I love it. Your podcasts are wonderful.
Oh, thank you. It's been a pleasure. And everyone who's still watching, remember you were created to create, and perhaps you were
Amen.
created to write.
Amen.